Good day, everyone. My name is Bia. I am 26 years old and I am from South Africa. And I'm thrilled to stand here today as a youth fellow for the International Youth Think Tank, or the IYTT. Each year, the IYTT selects 24 extraordinary candidates from hundreds of outstanding applications to become advocates and champions of democracy. Once chosen, we undergo a week-long of intensive work and training, equipping us to tackle the challenges of democracy with concrete solutions. What follows are conference reports with policy briefs and proposals, which are then redefined through working papers and eventually become presented in our handbook for innovative change. However, it does not end here. As youth fellows, we remain actively engaged over the years, constantly inspired by the initiatives of our fellow fellows. My journey, for example, started in 2022 when I first traveled to Sweden for the IYC conference. I subsequently traveled to Cyprus for a project with UN peacekeeping on democratic engagement and reconciliation with North and South Cypriots. I then recently traveled to South Africa for this year's youth conference and Nobel Symposium. And today I stand here in the cradle of democracy, presenting our work to you. Now, what sets the IYTT apart is that we are not just youth with brilliant ideas at the kids' table. We get to actually present and advance and discuss our ideas with like-minded and influential figures such as yourselves. Beyond this, we utilize innovative tools of democracy to empower people from all walks of life. Take our Open Chair Democracy Talks, for example, which was conceived by a previous cohort of youth fellows during the 2021 Athens Democracy Forum. This citizen-centered approach has empowered individuals across 55 sessions across 5 continents, demonstrating that democracy truly is for everyone, everywhere. Now, this year marks a milestone for our organization, but also for myself, as we held our first conference outside of Europe and in my beautiful home of South Africa, no less. In addition to that, we hosted it in collaboration with the Norwegian Nobel Institute, which then became a Nobel Symposium. 24 extraordinary youth from Zimbabwe, Malawi, South Africa, Pakistan, Nigeria, and Uganda came together creating a vision for a transformatic democratic society in Africa. Now, what stands out among the 24 African youth fellows is the deep embodiment of Ubuntu values, namely survival, spirit of solidarity, respect, compassion, and dignity, truly embodied by each and every single one of our extraordinary fellows. These African fellows came up with 14 forward-thinking proposals under 4 key sub-themes, namely impactful representation, civic and political education, media and information, as well as inclusive accountability. These themes highlight how Pan-African ideals and African humanism can drive impactful change by utilizing the existing institutions and values to address the challenges to our democracy. As the youngest continent, we as African youth have the potential to lead this transformation. We truly are the future. But dear audience, I must tell you that Africa's youth, we are frustrated. We are frustrated by our leaders and our governments. We are disillusioned by our leaders' failure to deliver jobs, equity, health, security, and the corruption that stifles our progress. Time and time again, promises have been made and promises have been broken, and basic services have been denied and neglected. But we refuse to stay silent and crippled by these struggles. Instead, we demand accountability, we demand transparency, and we demand solutions where citizens are at the forefront and are included. Now, among the plethora of brilliant and innovative proposals stands Citizen Science, a proposal for change. So there's a large and pressing gap between what is promised by leaders and the services that we as citizens are owed and what is actually received and delivered. Citizen science aims to bridge this gap by empowering communities to gather and analyze their own data, ensuring that they can hold their leaders accountable in a concrete and effective way. By partnering with civil society organizations, researchers, and local leaders, citizen science will train individuals in basic research methodologies, utilizing locally relevant and contextually appropriate research methods. Citizen science will thus serve to enable communities to concretely map out the discrepancies between the promises that have been made and the realities on the ground. This knowledge becomes a powerful tool for accountability, allowing citizens to demand the services that they so very much deserve. So why is this important? Well, when citizens generate their own data, they become active participants in shaping policy. Citizen science empowers citizens to articulate their needs concretely based on real-time evidence, fostering greater civic engagement. It also promotes digital literacy and reinforces a core democratic principle, namely that when citizens shape policy, trust is rebuilt and democracy is strengthened. For more details on this proposal and the many brilliant proposals that our 24 youth came up with, 1 month ago in South Africa, I cordially invite you to explore our preliminary report on our website. Now, our work on democracy and advocacy and youth empowerment is far from over. Each year, we continue to grow, adding 24 new candidates and democracy advocates. And we are expanding globally. In March next year, we are excited to recruit 24 youth from the United States as we will host our first conference in Washington. Beyond that, we will also launch our annual Global Youth Summit, bringing together 24 extraordinary youth from Africa, Europe, and the United States to build a global movement of young leaders advocating for positive and inclusive change. Beyond this, in 2026, we also plan to recruit 24 youth fellows from Asia and will host a conference in Bangalore, India. My fellow friend, Sophia, has traveled recently 2 weeks ago as part of preparations for this conference. And while we continue to grow and expand our global movement of young leaders from around the world, our current fellows are working on several brilliant initiatives, including global youth employment, democratic youth cafes, and junior elections. Now, the IYTT is on an exciting adventure towards an inclusive democracy, and we would like to invite you on our adventure towards this empowered society that we strive for. So please stay updated with our projects and initiatives through our website and social media. Lastly, on behalf of the IYTT, I would like to dedicate the contributions here at the ADF to our dear friend and advocate and champion of democracy, Namatai Kwekweza, the 25-year-old Zimbabwean activist and founder of We Lead. Last year, Namatai received the Kofi Annan Next Generation Award at the ADF here. She was scheduled to join our conference in South Africa as an inspirational speaker and commentator. However, unfortunately, due to her unjust and brutal detention, she was unable to attend our conference and this year's conference. Our thoughts and prayers are with her, and we thank her for her continued work and advocacy in the name of democracy. Thank you.